We have a massive Celtics trade update as a new report reveals Brad Stevens' master plan for the upcoming 2025-2026 NBA season. We have the latest Celtics news for you here today on Celtics Digest. Welcome in, everybody. I'm Jace Andrews. I appreciate you tuning in to today's show. Obviously, got a lot to talk about on a new report from Brett Siegel of Clutch Points. But before that, I want to remind you to hit that subscribe button. It's 100% free, and we noticed that nearly 73% of you who watch these videos are not yet subscribed. So if you are part of that 73%, do me a favor, go down there, hit that subscribe button. It's 100% free, and you're going to get daily Celtics coverage. Obviously, this heads into the 2025-2026 season, where we're going to be covering every single game, injury, news report, you name it. We got it for you here on Celtics Digest. Let's talk about a couple of different things, as we have this headline kind of basing this video off of. There has been some rumors and an insider providing an update on Payton Pritchard and Sam Hauser trade talks. Now, obviously, this season and this offseason in particular has been an intriguing one for the Boston Celtics because there's been a lot of change. Jrue Holiday and the trade for him, and obviously getting Anthony Simons over here, which we don't know if he'll be here by the start of the NBA season. Along with that, Kristaps Porziņģis getting Georges Niang, then trading Georges Niang to the Utah Jazz. So there's obviously a bunch of things that have happened, and the Celtics are going to be looking like a very different team in this upcoming season. However, how different are they actually going to look? Because at one point in time, and kind of still currently, there are talks of whether or not the Celtics are done putting out these trades. Are they done being, these top-tier traders, or are they going to look to maybe send off some more assets? One of those guys, of course, being Sam Hauser, that was mentioned multiple times, along with Anthony Simons. Well, Brett Siegel of Clutch Points kind of gave us a little insider information, and we're going to talk about it here today on the show. We go to our first quote, Jason Frey of Celtics SI, kind of talking about the prerequisite to the Brett Siegel quote, saying, quote, Brett Siegel of Clutch Points touches upon several talking points floating across the NBA at this point of the summer. With the season quickly approaching, multiple teams have personnel decisions hanging over their heads. One of those squads happens to be the Celtics. Obviously, we know that Brad Stevens has done a lot this offseason, and whether or not he's done is kind of up for debate. There are some people saying that the Celtics still want to move off Anthony Simons and get below that first apron, but there are other people saying that, the Celtics, they got into the second apron, and they are the Boston freaking Celtics. If they're over that first apron, so be it. Like, we got a new ownership group. It seems like they're going to be in a just fine place, because in a lot of assets, the other ownership group really wanted to trade and be under that first apron for sure. Right now, it doesn't seem like the new ownership group cares as much as the first one did. With that being said, let's go into Brett Siegel's quote, kind of talking about this, saying, quote, although teams inquired about Derrick White and Jaylen Brown, Boston made it a point of emphasis to keep both of those players. The idea of contending for a title remains relevant, which is why the Celtics will use the 2025-2026 season as a retool year before making more roster changes to push for a championship at full strength during the 2026-2027 season, end quote. And I think he's got a good point, and something that maybe we as Celtics fans somewhat forget. You see, obviously we know Jaylen Brown is going to be the leader of this team. We'll get to see him in that light for really the first time. I mean, the last time he hasn't played with Jayson Tatum was his rookie year, which obviously at that point he was not nearly the type of basketball player he is now. So going to get to see that, but literally in the 2026-2027 season, you're going to have Payton Pritchard, you're going to have Sam Hauser, you're going to have Jayson Tatum, you're going to have a Jaylen Brown. The big question is really at the center position, and Neemias Quintus, if he is going to be able to, take over that center role. The Celtics really have shown they liked him, but right now, you're asking, okay, you talk about Sam Hauser, you talk about Payton Pritchard, but that's exactly what this video is on. Why exactly are they a guarantee to stay here? Well, it seems like Anthony Simons might be on the move. However, the same cannot be said for Payton Pritchard and for Sam Hauser. Brett Siegel of Clutch Points says this, quote, while it doesn't appear as if there is a trade on the horizon involving Simons before trading camp, the Celtics have been aggressive in shredding cap space and salaries this summer. Simons is the next player on the market, as the organization holds no desire to move Payton Pritchard or Sam Hauser at this time. Okay, so we officially got the word. I can really trust Brett Siegel. He obviously has a lot of reports that I've gotten right, but the trade for Sam Hauser or for Payton Pritchard is not going to be made, which for Payton Pritchard, I think is something that we kind of knew. Like, that was an obvious thing. The Patriots, especially after effectively naming him the starting, guard for the Celtics alongside Derrick White, you would expect for him to be not be traded. But for Sam Hauser, it's a different question because he's going into his, age 28 season, and effectively he is a big three-point shooter. That is what the Celtics are getting out of him. Pretty decent on defense, nothing really to write home about, but nothing bad at all. Last season, 21.7 minutes per game, had an average 8.5 points per game, 3.2 rebounds per game, a field goal percentage of .451, and a three-point percentage right below that at .416. We know that when Sam Hauser's hand is hot, he can get going, and he effectively can get this team going. So the fact of the matter that the Celtics are not going to trade him is definitely something that should be taken into account and really not treated lightly. I think in a lot of ways, Brad Stevens has done what has been needed rather than what he has wanted to do. Now, I'm also going to sit here and I might say this, and maybe this is something that maybe comes off in the wrong way, but I don't know. I'm curious for your opinion. The Celtics had to do this, had to trade away Porziņģis and Holiday and move off some players, not sign back Kornet, not get Al Horford, specifically because they wanted to get under that second apron and maybe even under the first apron. But I ask you this question. Did Kristaps Porziņģis look good at all in the postseason, or effectively any time he was actually healthy with the team? I would argue not. Did Jrue Holiday look like the Jrue Holiday we have known for the past couple of years? I would say not. Now, I'm not sitting here and saying that if the Celtics and there was no CBA and you could pay whatever you want, that this would still happen. However, I do want to put it out there that I don't think this is something that came out of the blue. I think this was more of a, we know what's going to happen, and Porziņģis and Hauser, or rather Porziņģis and Holiday, they weren't more of a fit. I would have loved to keep Holiday. Porziņģis, I don't really care too much. I'm more at a loss for Luke Kornet than anybody else. I'm going to be so frank with you. Like, Holiday and Porziņģis, I was upset when we traded them. I obviously, knowing them in the championship days, just 2 years ago, it was great. But Kornet was a guy who I felt this team really needed to be successful in this upcoming year. And in all reality, especially at that center position, I think it would have been a fantastic signing. Unfortunately, you don't get him, and now Neemias, there's a lot of excitement around him, but what exactly is the expectation? As for Payton Pritchard, though, I'm excited to have him back. I know he'll be here at least for a year or two, hopefully for a little longer than that. The Oregon product last year averaged 14.3 points per game, what was his best season, obviously in that sixth man of the year. The .472 field goal percentage, a .403 three-point percentage, and I'm not going to say the Celtics are going to be better without Jayson Tatum. I will not say that in a billion years because Tatum is the heartbeat of this team. However, I don't think we should be as down as maybe some fans are, specifically on the point that there has only been one time in Celtics history that there have been 40-point games by two teammates in the same contest. And it was not Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown. It was not Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce. It was not the days of past with Larry Bird and any other guy down there. It was Payton Pritchard and Derrick White. Last time I checked, they're both still on the Celtics. They're both still going to be playing very valuable minutes and in starting roles. I do believe the Celtics team, especially with really how bad the East is, they are going to be more of a competitive force than people are taking them, out here. I think there was some moves that I questioned. I would have loved to seen J.D. Davison kept along, but again, that's money that you don't exactly know if you're going to use. The guard position is something they already like with White, Pritchard, Brown. I don't think there is a question mark on that positionment, but at the same time, I understand with the way the Celtics are going about this that you move on for some people that just you don't know about. You really don't know. And JD's been here with us for 2-3 seasons, and he's just never gotten to the league level that we needed him to be. So here's the last talking point here from Jason for Celtics SI, and kind of opens up exactly what I was saying. If Simons has a great first few months, the Celtics could ride it out with the hopes of competing in the wide-open Eastern Conference. This is particularly the case if Tatum miraculously comes back sooner than expected, end quote. The update on Jayson Tatum, well, that's the big point of contention here. We don't know whether or not he'll be able to play in that last little bit of the season. We know Jayson Tatum, we know his game, we know the way that he wants to play, and really the way that he has always been in a Boston Celtics uniform. The question you have as an organization is, what is right for the team? Is it right for him to maybe rush back a little bit if you can see an opening in the Eastern Conference, knowing that, let's say the Celtics go on this miraculous run, I think they could easily in the East. It's not it's wide open. And then you go to the finals and you're facing a Western Conference team that, whether it's the Oklahoma City Thunder trying to go back to back, whether it's Kevin Durant and the newly formed Rockets, whether it's the very good and newly loaded Denver Nuggets who have won a championship as of late. There's a lot of good Western Conference teams that I think in some ways it might be better to hold off on Tatum, especially if there's not an easy championship run waiting for you in the wings. So if the East is not completely wide open, I'm not rushing back Tatum, at least. That would be my point. Obviously, we've got so much more to cover, so much more to talk about, but right now, Sam Hauser and Payton Pritchard, you will stay, and Freddie Simons, the book is still out, and we question whether or not he will be with us in this upcoming season, or even into the season if he will stay with us throughout the entire regular season, or be moved before the trade deadline. We appreciate each and every single one of you watching these videos. If you are new and you've made it to the end of the video, you are obviously enjoying the content, so go down there, hit that subscribe button. Like I said, 100% free, no purchase necessary, and we'll see you next time here on Celtics Digest. Peace out, guys.